Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Not admitted without parents or guardian.
Good evening, fans of fantastic films, and hold onto your eyeballs because have we got a show for you tonight. Mansion of the Doomed and Dolls on the Drive-In Asylum double feature. I am Bill Van Ryn, editor of fanzine Drive-In Asylum, and the other two guys are Sam Panico and Dustin Fallon. So welcome, everybody.
Hi, guys. Hi, everybody out there in chat. Hello.
This is a very exciting. This is a movie I've been meaning to do on the show for a really long time. So it's exciting for me anyway that we finally got to do it. I know I say that all the time, but tonight it's always true. Tonight it's extra true. So Dustin, this is a fave of yours. Am I correct? Mansion of the Doomed?
A newer one. I've honestly recently only discovered it really in the last couple years. But it's one that definitely made a quick, immediate impact on me. So hopefully everybody else enjoys it too. It's very much an upbeat film.
Yeah, I would definitely call this upbeat. It reaffirms your faith in humanity. Uh, at least one eyeball at a time.
Right.
Sam, what about you? How do you feel about Mansion of the Doomed?
It's Eyes Without a Face, but made in America. But it's pretty good. And it's got a lot of names, which is another thing that gets it on the show. Well, you'll see them, and I'll wait till Bill. Did you find any of the alternate names in the ad gallery, Bill?
Only one.
Okay.
There was really only one other film that it ever exhibited, one other name it ever exhibited theatrically under. But we'll talk about that in the ad gallery.
I'll save my names then. But yeah, and it's directed by one of my favorite actors, Michael Pataki. Youngstown Zone, Michael Pataki, which is kind of cool. He only directed one other movie, Cinderella, the softcore film that ran on Cinemax a lot in the 80s, which is exactly like the movie Fairy Tale. Speaking of movies that are way too close, they even have the same fairy godfather in both movies, the same actors in both of them, even though the cast is totally different. But there's some really great people in this. It's got a pretty wild cast. And and it's a Category 3 video nasty, which is always appreciated. I said that it's a
rightfully so.
Yeah, it's pure scum. That's what I wrote in the review, which is good. That's a positive thing.
Oh yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. It's a dirty flick. I mean, you're not going to feel happy afterwards.
It's very effective in the way it presents a bad situation. And it keeps getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the movie, it's so worse that you can't even remember a time when you were happy in your life.
Is it a stunning indictment of our broken healthcare system?
Well, it's a parable that could be read several ways. I don't know. I'm not even going to get into it. But you mentioned that there were a lot of great people in it. One of them is Richard Basehart.
Mm-hmm. Yes, from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Are you guys into that show? Like, I never watched it.
I watched it when I was a kid, but I think I was so young when the reruns were on, I don't really remember it. I remember it more from Gypsy from Mystery Science Theater yelling about Richard Basehart and how much she loved him. That's really what my experience with Richard Basehart.
That was my introduction to him. I know the last couple of years I've watched the reruns late at night on MeTV a few times, and I can get into it. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, compared to some of the other stuff they show late night, but I definitely won't change the channel.
Let me guess who Bill's favorite person in this movie is.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah,
Violet Bick.
Yeah, Vic Tayback is a cop.
Oh no, I meant I thought you were going to say Gloria Graham.
Oh well, Gloria Graham and Vic Tayback both in it. So this is a mini Blood and Lace reunion movie.
Yeah,
it's a lot to be excited about. But yeah, Vic Tayback is probably. I can see why you would say that. He has a really miscellaneous role in this film. It's very disappointing. So does Gloria Graham. To a certain degree. I mean, she's a little more relevant to the plot, but not much.
Tayback shows up and he seems like he's going to be a very crucial part of the film, and then he just kind of disappears.
Yeah. I don't think he even factors in at the climax, really.
Not really, no. And you think he's going to, but no, he just kind of I don't know, they kind of just forgot about him.
Plus, you got Lance Henriksen, not really in it that long, and Marilyn Joy, who's Cleopatra Schwartz from the Kentucky Fried Movie. There's a deep reference for somebody. But yeah, there's a lot of eyeballs.
And another one in there for any old school baseball fans is former Dodger Al Ferrara's got a small part in it too.
That's interesting. I didn't know that connection.
Yep. He's a really small part, but he's there. And I'm glad you brought up Marilyn Joy because, a very pretty actress, great in, I thought she was great in Nurse Sherry. A couple other movies that aren't coming to me right now, but yeah, she's in there too. So
that's where I've seen her before. Nurse Sherry.
Yes. Wow. She played Nurse Smiley.
Our love holds on.
The writer for this movie, Frank Pirelli, also wrote Dracula's Dog, Laser Blast, End of the World, and Alligator. So he's very in that Charles Band world for some of those at least, and Pataki with Dracula's dog. So there's a little, and he also wrote Cinderella, the Cinderella movie I brought up before.
It's a cinematic universe. They all take place in the same universe.
Have you guys shown Grave of the Vampire on here?
Never. That's another one that seems like an obvious choice.
Pataki's the lead in that one, right?
Yeah.
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 We've talked about showing it.
He's the vampire in that.
Mm-hmm.
And William Smith too, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Band financed this film in a very unusual way. Do either of you guys want to tell the story, or should I?
That I don't know.
Please tell it.
Well, he was very young, in his early 20s, and he had never, I think he had never financed a film before. So he happened to be attending an auction where they were auctioning off newspapers. I think it was either an estate sale or something similar. And he left this auction with a lot of newspapers, copies of the LA Times dating all the way back to like the 1920s up until the 60s. And he paid a certain amount of money for this lot and left it. So he came up with this idea to sell each of the newspapers. He approached all these celebrities who had been born on that day, and he sold them a copy of the newspaper for $5,000. And he financed Mansion of the Doomed that way. I think the budget was around 200. So he sold a lot of newspapers.
I just learned that he had a crazy plan for the movie Shrunken Heads that he did with Richard Elfman, and basically they gave away all the roles in the movie to people that either worked at or went to a video store in Los Angeles. So everybody that's in it is like from that video store.
Amazing.
Outside of like 3 or 4 leads. And that's a cheap way of getting a lot of extras and not paying for them, I guess.
And from what I hear, he's good at not paying.
Also good at miraculously finding VHS boxes that nobody knew were there.
Yeah. Is there anything he hasn't sold?
Or brought back out? I like everybody gets excited, and I always get emails whenever they put out a new Golly or something that Full Moon puts out, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm not going to buy that. Their quality on their releases is maybe not the best.
And I could be wrong here. I may even be in the minority, but I think actually with some of their later releases, they've done better jobs with the movies that weren't their own.
Yeah. Yeah, they have. Like, especially a lot of the Italian ones they put out are a little better. Like, they just put out one, and it wasn't bad.
And I'm probably going to get the name wrong. Is it Orgy of the Living Dead, The Hanging Woman? They did a good job with that. But then some of their other stuff, it's like, what is this?
The Hanging Woman. That had so many names in the United States. It was called Beyond the Living Dead, The Hanging Woman, of course. What was the other one that I'm not remembering? Do either of you guys know?
I only know the 2 for it.
Yeah. It was one of those. Paul Naschy was in it.
Mm-hmm.
My other crazy fact is that Arthur Space, who plays one of the winos in this, he's also a wino in The Bat People.
And you know what other movie he's in?
I know the name sounds familiar.
He's the old man in Terror House.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's Arthur Space.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always played winos and crazy people, it seems.
You think that was typecasting or just really good at what he did?
I haven't heard any stories about him being crazy, so yeah, it was probably just his shtick, you know.
He's wanted real good at it.
Well, it's kind of like Buck Flower. He always seems to play that same type of role too. So,
yeah, definitely typecast, to say the least.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone for showing up in the chat, by the way. It's nice to see all you folks. And Joe Rude is among us tonight.
Saw that.
Nice to see you, Joe.
And so is, who else did I see that we haven't seen in a while? I'm looking back through.
And just to respond to one comment here from Vince, yes, sir, I'm going to agree with you. I will take Devil Dog over Dracula's Dog any day.
Yeah.
Speaking of, going back to earlier this week, rest in peace too. And Bill helped me out with this last name, Yvette Mimou.
Yeah, bummer. You know, I'll always remember her as for her character in Snow Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And Meatloaf too.
Yeah, Meatloaf. Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Very
Roger
jam.
Braden's in chat too. I haven't seen Roger in a while, so Roger,
Oh, awesome.
Hey, Roger.
congratulations on your first year of living in your new house, Roger. It looks awesome. So,
By the way, congratulations to everybody who won last week on the show,
Yeah.
including Pamela Coleman, who scored that fabulous blanket from Pinsploitation with all the newspaper ads all over it. I have a confession to make, Pamela. I wasn't able to ship it until today because, for one thing, we got a really big snowstorm in Pittsburgh, and I was sort of housebound for a couple of vital days there. And then also, I couldn't figure out how to ship this damn thing. I mean, it was so big, none of my envelopes could contain it, and I ended up making this Frankenstein of a bubble wrap envelope by duct taping everything together. So, you know,
speaking of blankets,
high class.
Hey, Cubby.
Oh, there we go.
He says,
Cubby,
"I
how did
haven't-
you?
I haven't taken it off.
he literally will not lay on anything else now. This is his favorite blanket.
There you go. My work is done here.
Mhm.
But congratulations to Pamela and everybody else who won last weekend. This week, Sam's going to give some stuff away. Isn't that right?
Yeah, you guys want to see what they are?
Yes.
And here we go. Some things came out on UHD and Blu-ray, so that's where these are from. But some of these are pretty rare, so I'm excited. We got Maniac Cop 2 Blu-ray DVD double set.
Nice.
There we go. We got a bootleg of Phantom of the Mall from VHS PS. It's actually shot from the VHS, and it has some tracking issues in the beginning.
Ooh.
So if you like watching stuff on VHS,
That's high class.
it's super high class. We got one of my favorite movies, Midnight. Look at that horrible cover that they did for it. It's way better than that cover.
Yeah, that's a poor thing.
Look at the back cover. Like, none of these things, like, that's not even in the movie. Come on. But anyway, that's Midnight. And finally, we got the Anchor Bay Shock.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the last Mario Bava movie. Maybe kind of a little bit of Umberto, but let's just say it's Mario. Anyway, these are all up. If you would like to enter, please enter your name. And even though Dustin's hosting, he's still also eligible to be entered as well.
I'll let my wife enter.
Yeah, Mandy could just enter.
Yeah.
I know how those Fallons work that.
Yeah, but I'm excited to I have a few more to get rid of, but we're going to do these 4 this week. And if you'd like to win, just say you'd like to be entered, and they'll be in there. No, so
Yeah, we'll go.
Sam, give away a drawing. Maybe I'll do that next week. I'll do a drawing of somebody's choice. That'll be a big.
That's cool.
Just mention in the chat that you want to be entered in the drawing. And after the segment ends, we'll go back and we'll collect all the names. We'll do the drawing on the second segment. So you got to come back.
Yeah. So this is sorry that the Midnight cover is kind of cheesy, but it's a great movie. So, you know.
Was that the only DVD release of that?
There's another one that has a slightly different cover. This one's like super bootleggy, and I bought it in a store in Pittsburgh. So it's
Was it at Ides?
Lionsgate one. Yeah, it's from Ides. No, it's an exchange one, but it was a Lionsgate release. I remember seeing the other release, but it's super bare bones, or there's not even a card or anything inside.
Oh, wow.
And this is in the days when people were like, "Yeah, nobody really is going to collect these and do anything." I think the Anchor Bay one has. The Anchor Bay one has a card for Beyond the Door 2, and chapters too. So
that is gorgeous.
yeah. So that could be yours. And this box is back in the day when we still made the DVD cases weighed 10 pounds. Like when, you know what I mean? It's a solid DVD case. If you like this Maniac Cop, I have the UHD, but at some point I'll get like a Hypercube. Blue Underground's going to put out, no matter what new format comes out, they're going to put out something new.
I scream that all the time, Mike, so everyone else should too.
Speaking of UHDs, Class of Nukem High is coming out on UHD pretty soon. I just got a press release on it, if anyone likes that movie.
I saw it announced with a whole bunch of other stuff too, and of course, now that we're live on the air, I can't remember any of it.
Yeah, so I'm excited. The movie I'm most excited about that got announced this week is The Girl Can't Help It, is a Criterion Blu-ray. and I'm super excited to have that on Blu-ray because the DVD's been out of print, and I hope they port over the John Waters thing that was on the DVD.
Gigi's going to be on excited about that too. She posted about it.
I think we were sending each other messages about it as it happened. It was exciting. And then the other
Because that's what we do.
yeah, and then what's that? The newer label that Cauldron is putting out two other Fulci movies unnamed. That's
I
announced.
saw that.
But that's exciting. Oh, and The Farmer came out this week. That's the other big thing. Finally,
Is it out or is it coming out?
it's out from Diabolic. They only have 2,000 copies, and I think they have
Oh,
like
wow.
400 left. But they have like a limited slipcase, and I think Scorpion will do the rest through Ronin Flix. But it's not. It's $29. It's not super expensive.
I saw there was a announcement for a Blu-ray of Ghost Riders, which I had to laugh at because not only is it an awful movie, there's no actual ghost.
Yeah, MVD
Details, baby,
yeah.
details.
Yeah, I just got to think about that too. That's
Oh yeah,
I'll watch it.
I got my VHS copy somewhere around here.
Yeah, I actually was in a store the other day, and there was a thrift store, and there was a ton of VHS
Oh,
still.
nice.
So I was like, I have a VHS an HDMI VHS now. Why? But I have one. It doesn't make it look any better or worse.
Did I read somewhere that there is a new version of Mansion of the Doomed coming out on Blu-ray? Hasn't that
It's out.
been announced? Oh, it's fine. It's out.
Yeah, it's
because
out.
I thought I saw an announcement for something.
Well, there's the full moon one. If there's someone else who's doing it, I'm not aware, but I've not seen it or seen any reviews, so no clue how it looks.
I'm probably just brain-addled.
It's
I shouldn't have a show.
Yes, you should. So I also, in the side here, I'm just getting caught up. Chris said that he has the Anchor Bay version of Shock, and what a great release. Anchor Bay is like, I still have a ton of Anchor Bay DVDs because they were the label putting stuff out back in the day.
Mhm.
Like
So much good stuff. They did all those. How many times did Anchor Bay release Halloween in some form or another?
Aren't they still?
Becca said not enough in the background, by the way.
First, there was like the original Anchor Bay Halloween. Then it was in a clamshell with a booklet, and then there was like a yellow or an orange case, an orange VHS case.
Didn't you have the orange one in your house for a while? I kind of remember you had the orange.
I did have those. I probably do still have those somewhere because there was something wrong with them, and they had to ship you 2 new ones. I think that was one of those.
I agree with Sean. I still have the Suspiria Anchor Bay DVD.
Ditto.
Yeah. So
I have their speaking of the Anchor Bay. Oh, I wish it was sitting right here. I was just looking at it. I found it was the Halloween lenticular cover with and there were 2 DVDs in it. One was the TV version.
Oh, cool.
Which was still sort of unusual.
We have a VHS of the TV version with commercials and everything like that. And it's one we watch every year. I'm not sure what area of the nation or the country that it was recorded from, but there's still like some regional area commercials in there, which that to me makes it so much better.
Is it the original 1981 broadcast?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I was watching that with a babysitter, actually.
Perfect.
My mom was on. What did you say?
The Babysitter Murders.
Right, yeah. And of course, I knew everything that happened in the movie, so I scared her every time I would jump up when something happened. But I think that was the same weekend that Halloween 2 was in theaters. So you were Halloweened out that year.
That's awesome.
It's not a bad thing.
No.
Back then it wasn't. Maybe now.
It was a big deal, when something came on network TV, you were going to get to watch it for free.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's amazing that there's a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre coming out in 3 weeks, and there hasn't been like a single ad for it or anything. It's Netflix, but I mean, Netflix has your money anyway.
That thing?
Yeah. They don't really need you to get excited about stuff, maybe, but still, I'm excited, but I guess I haven't been burned enough by all the Texas Chainsaw Massacres I watched in 1 week. I guess I rose above it. I like new generation, so obviously I like shit. So anything that comes out after, I'm going to be fine with.
I liked Leatherface Part 3. So
I like 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dustin, do you like 4? Do you like the new generation?
Honestly, no, but I definitely don't think it's the worst one.
What's
It's
the
funny
worst
because
one?
depending on the order you watch them in, if you watch some out of order, you're like, it was better, and now it's gotten worse again. And like, the quality like does some. It's very roller coastery.
What is the worst one, Dustin?
Oh gosh, the 3D one from a couple years back was horrendous, just horrendous.
3D one.
Yeah, Leatherface 3D. I think
Was it Leatherface?
It's either
I know there's one scene where they're like he's chasing someone through like a carnival, and everybody at the carnival is just like completely indifferent to the fact there's some guy in a mask with a chainsaw running around.
Isn't there always?
Mm.
I mean, the chainsaw isn't actually working usually. It's just when you go to a haunted house, that always makes me laugh. So I'm like, well, what are we supposed to think? You're really going to cut somebody with a chainsaw?
Mm-hmm.
Why do girls scream at that?
I was just as someone that dresses Leatherface for a lot of carnivals and had a chainsaw. You will not Of course, I'm not going to cut someone. I literally made someone piss their pants once. But I would also run through doors and horrible stuff too. Like I would really like go. We had like breakaway walls and stuff. So big fat 15-year-old.
Now, see, I could get into that.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like, oh, nice apron, Daddy. Anyway.
Was that a precursor to the wrestling career?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Also, I was just going to say how much I like Texas Chainsaw too, and Chris hates it. So I'm not going to talk about how that's my favorite.
I actually saw that one before the first one.
Yeah, same here.
So I've always had a little. I mean, I can't say I love it, but I have a little bit of a soft spot for it compared to the first one.
I love that their base is a Civil War theme park, and at the end, she's on top of the base screaming. The last shot of it's hilarious. It's
spoiler alert.
Well, it came out how long ago? I didn't say who. It could have been Leatherface right. Transgender, as we learned in some of the later movies.
I still have a question though if there's like a expiration date for spoilers. What was it? Like a week or so ago when I did the review for The Human Monster, I even put a spoiler alert at the beginning, and I'm like, it's a 90-year-old film almost, guys. I mean, at this point, I don't think it counts.
I think if it's a movie that the twist really is important, and the movie, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's some movies where it's like, oh wow, I always think if I'm surprised when I'm watching it, sometimes I want other people to have that same feeling. So sometimes I think through that. You know what I mean? But also, it's like this people being upset about Scream spoilers was my favorite. Where it's like, is it really going to be that different than the last 4, like or 5, however many there have been, 4 or 5?
This is the 5th one. Yeah.
They should have just made it Screams and stylized the 5 to be an S. There, I did your design work for you.
But how many screams? That's what everybody wants.
All the screams. No screaming in the theater. Keep your mouth closed. But all the screams.
Mansion of the Doomed was released in 1976.
Mm-hmm.
And as we said, it was directed by Michael Pataki. It came out in October 1st, actually, and Indianapolis was the first place I could find it playing. And they're right up front. What happens is so horrifying, we can't even hint at it in this advertisement.
And they kind of don't.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't really know what this movie is about. And if there's anybody in the chat who doesn't know exactly what this movie is about, I'm not going to ruin it by talking about it too much. It's a Mad Doctor story, though. I will tell you that. It was still playing in March of '77 as a main feature. Here's one from Reading. And then it started all these different combinations came up. August '78 in Albany, it was with a muck, aka Maniac Mansion. And here it is with The Psychic from Brewer, Maine, 1979. That's pretty exciting. We never have anything from the Brewer. I have so many ads from the Brewer Drive-In, and then for this one I found a bunch. Now look at this 4-film lineup: The Clonus Horror, Meat Cleaver Massacre, and Dr. Tar's Torture Dungeon, from the director of Alucarda. This is just amazing to me. Could you imagine?
Dr. Tars.
Some people just took this for granted in 1979.
What a night.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, as Sean Midas would say.
Oh,
look at this one from April 1980.
Look at the bunny.
It was an Easter show, the big Easter show: Squirm, Count Dracula and his Vampire Bride, The Legacy, Twilight People, and Mansion of the Doomed.
That's
Fainting.
one hell of a lineup.
Fainting in 3, 2, 1, clonk. So this was obviously you'd have to stay up till 5 a.m. to watch all these movies. Back to Brewer for The Gates of Hell with B feature Mansion of the Doomed from 1983. Now, as Sam mentioned earlier, there was another name for this film. The Terror of Dr. Cheney is what it played as in London, early 1981, with a movie called Revenge of the Dead. And I couldn't find a newspaper ad for it, like a picture ad. So I will show you the UK one sheet for this double feature. Revenge of the Dead is actually Meat Cleaver Massacre. If you
The
can
movie
believe
with Christopher
that.
Lee shows up for about 10 minutes or 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was the one where Christopher Lee didn't even know he was going to be in that movie. So that was the theatrical run of our first feature tonight, Mansion of the Doomed.
Very cool.
There were some alternate titles on VHS as well, like The Eyes of Dr. Cheney, which, spoiler alert, eyes might have something to do with this film. Sam, it looks like it's cocktail time and not a moment too soon.
Wasn't it also Mansion Massacre for the UK, I think?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. But only on video.
Yes, okay.
And theatrically, it was The Terror of Dr. Cheney.
Nice car shirt.
Thank you.
Oh,
I think Bill bought it for me, didn't you, Bill?
maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think so. Either you or Becca.
I took a picture with you in that when you were wearing that. Remember our New Year's Eve picture a couple of years ago?
We had one a couple of years ago. I wear this shirt a lot, as you can tell. It's starting to get worn out. But I saw the car over 100 times in 1981. So
we don't have a New Year's Eve picture this year, do we?
no, we should have taken one too.
We missed our opportunity.
We did. We were too excited about singing new wave songs, and you know.
Some things are more important.
Yeah, welcome to the new kitchen. If you feed them, they will come. Anyway, let's make a drink. This drink's called Doomed. It's Doomed. So this one's pretty simple. We're going to start. This drink is for Bill. Actually, this week I made 2 simple drinks because I thought it'd be good. Everybody can kind of be a little easier for everybody to make drinks. So this is going to start with some Midori. Let's see if we can get it open.
You know I love you for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ounce and a half of Midori.
I love you an ounce and a half more.
There we go.
And this is a shake drink, right?
This is a shake drink.
Okay.
Oh, man, I already got a shake.
Just checking.
We're going to do a half an ounce of whiskey. This is going to be interesting. I've never combined whiskey and vodka in a drink, so pretty excited about that, really.
Only a half ounce?
Yeah. We're going to
It's
start off
supposed
slow.
to be. Give it time.
The next drink will be a little stronger. And a half ounce of vodka.
This is a weird drink.
It is a weird drink. It takes a whiskey drink and it takes a vodka drink. To quote Chumbawamba.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Let's shake it up. I'm shaking it to lose me money.
You're shaking ahead of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. bet it's going to be green.
It better be green.
It is green, and then let's top that with a little bit. Club
What's
soda.
that? Oh, the club soda.
Yeah.
I knew I forgot something.
It's a little topper. Ooh, can club soda. Look at you.
It's high class here.
All right. I'm excited. Dustin, thanks for coming back and doing the show.
Oh, anytime. I've been looking forward to this all week.
It's definitely fabulous having you back on the show. So to Dustin Fallon from horrorandsons.com, we're so glad you're joining us tonight. Cheers.
Anytime. I enjoy being either on camera or in the chat with all the other people. I think, like everybody else, I look forward to this each week.
I feel like it should have a straw.
I feel like you should have a straw, too.
I'm getting mostly club soda.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a little spin.
Actually, if you guys really want to give a toast, I'm pretty sure it's Linda Blair's birthday. You could drink to her.
That's right. And it's also Telly Savalas' birthday.
Yes. And then Piper Laurie.
I should have killed myself the first time he put it in me. I love Piper Laurie, and I love her in Trauma. I don't know why, but a lot of people seem to hate that Argento film. I mean, it's not as good as Deep Red or any of the Hallowed ones, but I think it's pretty good.
It just came out from Vinegar Syndrome not long ago.
That's absolutely right.
So if you enjoy the Trauma, it's his one American movie, kind of. Well, it's two. I guess you can count Two Evil Eyes.
So, before we go into our first feature tonight, do either of you guys want to talk about something what was up this week? Did you watch anything noteworthy that you want to mention?
Sam?
Good, Dustin. You go first.
Nothing I haven't seen before. Last night we watched, the wife and I watched the Ape with Boris Karloff, which not my favorite movie of his, but a pretty solid performance from him compared to some of his later films. And then after she went to bed, I watched Devilfish again, which I don't know why I keep watching that horrible movie.
Wonderful.
I almost bought the Blu-ray.
That's what I watched. It was the Blu-ray. And it's, I guess because I'd seen it so many times on Mystery Science Theater when it was on that in the past, I forgot that what's the beginning in their version happens like in the middle of the film in the actual version. And then let's see what else. I have a short film that somebody sent me called Luna that I'll probably be watching after the show tonight. Posted a review for Flight to Mars earlier today.
I read that.
What was that?
I read that and it was great.
Yeah, thank you. Other than that, that's about it. As I know, Bill knows, just got over COVID, so I'm not 100%, but definitely a lot better than I was a week ago. But I'm considerate, so I shared it with my family, so they have it.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Sam.
This week in the site was Curtis Harrington for half a week.
Yes.
So we did Mike, who's usually in the chat, wrote a really great overview of his films and like where to find some of them. So thanks, Matt Bibe, for doing that. And I hopefully pronounced it right. God, as we all know, my pronunciation skills are wonderful. And then a whole bunch of Gregory Dark movies, including all his music videos. I didn't realize that Gregory Dark directed so many videos for so many really well-known bands.
Such as?
Orgy's Blue Monday, the first Linkin Park video.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, he did, what do you call a ton for Ice Cube, like 4 for Ice Cube.
Really?
Yeah, 2 for Outkast. He did a ton of hip-hop stuff, a ton for Onyx. The exhibit video that he did is probably his biggest video. He claimed he got the most work from that. And then he did tons of like 18s, A lot of Disney videos, which is crazy. A couple of Britney Spears ones. So it's really crazy that he went from adult to softcore to mainstream, and also did all these videos. He did over 80 videos in 3 years, which is pretty crazy, and probably would have done more if music videos weren't kind of winding down. He couldn't really find any work in commercials, so that's why he made the movie for WWE, See No Evil, which is a pretty decent slasher for a 2000 slasher. And then next week's all Japanese movies, and I got to say, I wrote way too much for next Friday on Prophecies of Nostradamus, the Toho 1974 Nostradamus movie. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
That sounds interesting.
No.
It's fucking great. It played in the U.S. as Last Days of Planet Earth in 1981 on TV.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
That's not one of the one Orson Welles had something to do with, was it?
No, that's that one's like more documentary, but this one is, the Japanese cut is about an hour longer because there's so much craziness in it. Like the one version will never probably be released. Someone from Toho, where they were going to release it onto Laserdisc, and Toho canceled it because of the controversy. Because there's a scene where everybody in New Guinea turns into a cannibal and eats somebody's arm, and there's a nuclear war, and at the end, the only humans left are mutants, and they like violently destroy each other before eating snakes. All that stuff is cut out of the movie, but I found the bootleg of it, and wow, it's crazy. There's a scene in it where these people climb up. All the young people in the world decide. I'm laughing because of how ridiculous it is. They all decide to commit suicide, so they all make these giant ships and have a regatta of death, and they climb into the masts of the ship dressed as sails, and have painted their face kabuki style to look like the sails and crash giant ships into each other, while other kids race motorcycles off cliffs, and while this like crazy like Syd Barrett era Pink Floyd music plays. It's awesome. It's really good. Imagine Toho making Toho was super into disaster movies, and Tokyo was super into Nostradamus from like 74 to 81. Like 9 million Nostradamus books by this author were sold within like 4 years at one point. They were really into post-apocalyptic, like post-millennial tension, and this movie really does it. And the other last one, Bill, The Roaring Fire.
Hey. What's his name?
That's Icky.
Icky.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Icky's awesome.
He's just been swirling around me, so I figured I'd pick him up.
Icky Pop.
And Vince, Tidal Wave was released. Actually, some of the footage from Tidal Wave is in Nostradamus. Tidal Wave was released as Tokyo Sinks in Japan, and that movie was #1 in Japan for 2 years.
Whoa!
It made like 4 times what any movie beneath it made, and literally Toho made this other one to get that one out of the theaters because they wanted to get some of their new movies out. The other thing is, during the making of Prophecies of Nostradamus, there's a huge fire, and most of the Godzilla costumes were damaged forever. The Megara costume from the Mysterians was set on fire during the making of it accidentally, and they lost tons of the original Godzilla suits as a result of making this movie. So it's pretty wild, and it has a lot of footage from War at Sea and a couple other ones. And then Toho, of course, used this footage forever. Just like Roger Corman brought out Tidal Wave and used that footage forever. There's a lot of recycling. The other movie, Bill, this week that I'm super excited about, it'll be up next week, next Sunday, is Burning Fire, The Roaring Fire. And it is it's like a video game come to life. It's a karate movie. Sonny Chiba plays a magician CIA agent that can make handcuffs disappear, and Abdullah the Butcher's in it. And it's got some of the craziest fights you'll ever seen. And a diamond gets put through someone's face.
Nice.
900 stars out of 5. Anyway,
It could happen.
I got really excited about these movies.
No,
There's a
we
lot of
love it.
wild stuff coming in the Japanese weekend, and that starts tomorrow.
What year's the Toho Nostradamus one? Is that 70s?
74, yeah. It's on Internet Archive if you want to see it.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
It's really weird. The American cut is like it's really chopped up, and they took a lot of the very specific to Japan things out of it. Especially, and they took all the nuclear war stuff out because it gets really dark in the Japanese version. So I think that was too much, they thought. And it aired on syndicated TV, which is crazy. Toho actually released it in the U.S. for 6 weeks because they had a string of Japanese-only theaters that Toho would release stuff in the 70s, which is pretty wild. But it
Yeah,
was
they showed. I had a lot of those ads when I did my series from Hawaii
yeah.
on the Groovy Doom page. Stuff that was like, you wouldn't really think that played in the United States theatrically, but they totally did.
That's awesome though. Like I'm sure it was probably like Hawaii, LA,
Mhm.
New York, maybe Chicago, and that's about it. At least back then.
I didn't really watch a lot of stuff. I've had my nose to the grindstone trying to get issue number 23 finished for Driving Asylum. I was underwater with the Pat Carty interview, and I was poking around on IMDb, and I discovered something that really blew me away that I never realized before. Is the producer of Horror High. You'll read about it in the article. The role that the producer played in Horror High. His name was James Graham. And he was just a guy from Texas until he got into the oil business and struck it really big in the oil industry and became a multimillionaire. He actually produced Horror High, but he produced another movie that is near and dear to my heart, and that is Messiah of Evil.
No.
Which is really strange to me because the producers, that means that James Graham would have been the guy that was supposed to be paying everybody but didn't on Messiah of Evil, and that's why it got shut down. Is nobody got paid, and they discovered that like the money guy, which presumably would have been James Graham, wasn't paying anybody, and like they found all the bills for the production stuffed in a drawer, and no one had ever been paid, so they just ended up shutting down the production. But I don't know. I mean, there could have been another producer involved as well, and Pat Carty is also certain that James Graham put up the money for Don't Look in the Basement.
Wow.
Because that's, of course, starred Rosie Holitic. Rosie Holitic was his wife at the time, and he was dedicated to getting her films and like making sure that she had work as an actress. So it's possible. He's not credited on the film, but Pat was sure about that.
So did she get paid then?
I'm sure she got paid. Handsomely.
Yeah.
She better have.
Well, I don't know. They didn't stay married, so.
He's like, I can't pay you the cash out of you, but perhaps we can come to another arrangement.
Oh, hi, Gigi. And yes, it would have been a wonderful movie. At least it would have had an ending if they had cut the check. But again, I'm not really all that disappointed with it as is. Either.
Yeah, I know that was mentioned last week too. Do we really want the ending to be different? I mean, it may have been more cohesive, but I think, at least for me, that whole, unclear, subjective nature to it, where you can kind of, decide what you think it means. I think that kind of adds to the appeal of the film.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Gigi. It wouldn't have been a better movie if they had finished it. But I'm happy with what we got from Messiah of Evil. And I'm very happy with what we got from Mansion of the Doomed, which is our first feature of the evening. Now, again, Sam's going to be giving away some DVDs on the second segment. So let us know in the chat if you want to be entered in the drawing. Sam, you want to run down the DVDs again, or are they downstairs?
They're in the living room.
Okay.
Let me see if I can remember them. They are Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge. I have to close my eyes to remember. This is when you get old. Shock, Midnight, and Maniac Cop 2, which comes on Blu-ray and DVD together. So you can watch them in two rooms at the same time and sync up your world. Go crazy. So, watch it all over the place.
So we'll go back through the chat and write down all your names and do a drawing in the second segment. And not for all four movies at once. We draw your name, you get to pick a movie. Then we draw another name, you get to pick a movie.
The longer we take, the longer people stay watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone's going to end up with a movie that they didn't pick. But that's part of the deal.
Yeah,
so,
that should be my thing. I include a movie that you won't want. Like you get Simply Irresistible with Sarah.
I only meant the last person, but yeah, you could do some sneak attacks, Sam.
Yeah, you get like a bunch of stuff that I wanted to get rid of.
I see in the comments Matthew's got the new Blu-ray of Mansion of the Doom, so hopefully he can tell us how it looks.
I think it looks pretty good because I'm pretty sure that's what's on YouTube.
Is it?
Yeah, I linked to that, by the way. If you're a first-time viewer or you haven't been viewing for very many weeks, we don't actually screen the film here in the environment. You'll see a countdown in a few seconds. I've got it all queued up. At the end of the countdown, start the movie. It doesn't matter if we're all totally synced up because we wait about like 5 minutes before we go live again after the film. It's on YouTube, so theoretically you should be able to watch it without commercials. I don't know. I pay for YouTube though, so I don't have to watch commercials. It started to feel like that's all I was seeing on there. all the content that I. So I don't know, but anyway, then come back after the movie for the second segment, and we'll do our drawing. Does that sound good, guys?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So check out Mansion of the Doomed, and when we come back, we'll be able to talk about it here on the Drive-In Asylum.
A little more openly.
Yes. We'll say all the spoilerific stuff.
Yeah.
In the second segment.